ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधिताम् भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथिताम् पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीम् भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि। भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवम् कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णम् वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। मूकं करोति वाचालम् पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिम् यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to you all. We are deliberating on the verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We are in the 7th chapter and we are looking at verses number around 12 onwards, 12 etc. So we deliberated on this idea from the verse in the 11th chapter, that is where Bhagavan said that he is the strength of the strong person, the strength which is bereft of, devoid of desire and attachment, kama and raga. So we touch on that subject, that the essence of strength unmodulated by your emotions or actions. And even he is the desire, but which desire? Which leads you to the higher manifestation of your own self. Dharma aviruddha. What is dharma? Which takes you towards moksha, that is dharma. Your duty at present context, in the present context of time, the space, the situation where you are, the cause at the present, and you respond your duty, that how you should act, being what you are. So the dharma is always in the context of what you are and where in you are. Response to your situation, expected, desired response to your situation, which is manifestation of your higher abilities, higher desire. So that higher desire, that the desire which is in tune with the dharma, not against the dharma, that is the divine itself. Kamos dharma viruddha bhuteshu kama asmi pradarsham. I am that desire. This Bhagavan said in the last verse. Now, in the second the verse following, so we had also touched this verse in the last class, and it read as Echaiva satvika bhava rajasas tamasascha ye. matta eva eti tan iti nat natvaham teshu temai. So these are the wordings. So there are various sandhis here. Words are conjoined. So matta eva, from me only. Matta here is not intoxicated. This is matta means from me. That is the meaning. So from me, eva, indeed, eti means they comes from, they springs forth from me only. But all these different modifications of mind, different vrittis of the mind, bhava, bhava, bhava means who means srushti. So whatever comes into being in the psychological plane or of the nature of these. So that means this your mental modifications, mental vrittis, mental states of the mind. What are the different emotions, experience arise in your mind, within your mind. So of all three categories of the sattvika, of course, rajasic also and tamasic also. So this is some wonderful statement to understand. That he says, I am all these three. Of the nature of sattva, rajas and tamas, I am everything. It comes from me. Comes from me in the sense, comes from the consciousness. This springs forth from the consciousness. But I had put a condition on there. In the last class, I mentioned that. So what is that conditions? That condition is, it is in respect of the previous verse, what is mentioned in the previous verse. Dharma aviruddha. Now that is the condition. So everything sattvika, rajasika, tamasika has come from Bhagavan, provided it is not dharma aviruddha. This is the essential condition. Then only, because otherwise, and very clearly it is defined here. So otherwise, man is attached to his desires, his vishayi, his bhogi, his nirbuddha also, and cunning also. So what he will do? He will do all sorts of things and blame it on Bhagavan, because everything comes from Bhagavan only. Bhagavan himself declared, I greed on somebody's money, I took that, I steal that. And I will ultimately be known, because Bhagavan Sri Krishna says that ye chaiva sattvika bhava rajasas tamasasya ye matta eveti. So everything, because many people, you can be recently you might have seen vandalism in temple and anywhere, this kind of crookedness. So in Sri Ramakrishna's Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in that Gospel we find a story, beautiful story. Sri Ramakrishna narrates it, that what happens, that there was a fellow who was a caretaker of the field, and there entered a cow. And this fellow warned of the cow not to harm the crops, yield which was there in the field. What did he do? He hit the cow. Unfortunately, the cow died. Now it is Gohatya. Now he was brought to the justice. Okay? Brought to the justice, and this fellow, in fear of now that mortifying fear, somehow that cunningness cropped up in his brain. And he argued that because Indra is the Adhishthatri Devata of Hasta, this Karmendriya, 2 hands, is the Adhishthatri Devata. So he must be blamed for it, not me. So Indra must be blamed for the action which my hands did, because I did nothing. Karma is Indra is the Devata, so let him take the blame of it. So that won't do, that won't happen. So let us then punish the karma, burn the karma nicely. Will it be acceptable to the individual? So this hypocrisy won't do. Echaiva satvika bhava rajasas tamasas. Now the interesting point would be our idea of then sattvika bhava, of course, it comes from the springs forth from the God, from the our higher real, or this springs forth from the consciousness. What does it mean, springs forth? Whatever these bhavas, these mental states are, if it springs forth from the consciousness, from God, they will be able to inversely able to connect you to the divine. So instead of becoming a hypocrite, instead of you making these things as an excuse, try to whitewash, they can be of our subjective inquiry, and this can help us to live within ourselves. Whether what I term it as spiritual, whether it is really connecting me back within myself to the spirit, the consciousness within myself, then only it is spirit. Whatever you do, if it does not connect you to the spirit, then it is not spirit. Does not levitate your mind on the higher realm, then it is not spiritual. Spiritual is, it is only, it is manifesting spirituality, that the light of consciousness is more ambient, more vibrant. It is coming more than the usual. Then it is spiritual for an individual. So this has to be totally a subjective inquiry, investigation into the matter. Now, the point is Sattvika, of course. Sattvika means, so now Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. These three qualities will be defined later on in the course of the Gita until the 18th chapter. But there comes few chapters, but not until the 13th chapter. And specifically then in the 14th chapter, we see these definitions are made very precise. So their characteristics are explained. So what is Sattvika, what is Rajasika, what is Tamasika, and how to understand what. Now, important point here is, Bhagavan says, I am manifesting that divine, that consciousness is manifesting in all these three bhavas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Essentially, Sattva is of equilibrium, when activity and inactivity is sort of balance. What is that? What does it mean? When you are working intensely at the best, at the optimal capacity of yourself, and you are almost unaware of it, that is something. You understand? You are at your peak performance, and you are not as if consciously doing it, deliberately not doing it, that is something. This is essential condition for any spiritual practice, especially for dhyana. Without this, dhyana is not something you can do. Dhyana is something you can do everything by which you can enter into dhyana. So where this state of worklessness, have you heard this word in physics, weightlessness? which is experienced in when there is less gravitational pull, and you can experience that weightlessness. So to say, absolutely weightlessness would be when the force of G, or this gravitational force pull, would be minimal. So you will not, because your weight is experienced due to gravity. Your weight is mass multiplied by gravity G. Okay? Mass alone is not your weight, so to say. Your weight is mass multiplied by this gravitational force, whatever that constant is. Okay? So, weightlessness, idea of weightlessness comes in the physics when you are in the extreme, the force, or wherever you in the space. So you will not be able to realize the gravitational pull. That's why you feel you do not have weight, as if you are floating in the air. Okay. Now, the state of worklessness. It is not that work is not happening. This slumber, laziness is not state of worklessness. That it is not like joblessness. It is not jobless state of the individual. It is the workless state of the individual. That it does not imply that there is no work. It is not, there is no idea of work, that there is no deliberation, conscious effortfulness of work. You are singing, you are performing, you are writing, you are playing probably, and everything that I referred in that context, that book, wonderful book, Flow, by an American psychologist, African American psychologist, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. So, this idea is deliberated. He nicely showed in that book. That's why, and the modern day word he has used for that is called as flow. And various time earlier also I explained this idea, so I will not become repetitive. So this is to be understood. Satvika is that where rajas and tamas is balanced in absolute, as if activity and inactivity is held in equilibrium. That is sattva. Activity is rajas and inactivity is tamas, so to say. There are other many characteristics that Satvika denotes the clearer understanding. Buddhi prakasha. Buddhi is not confused. Then it is sattva. Then if you are confused, but you have desire to find out the truth, you are struggling. Struggle is there, it is rajas. Struggle ends. Then either it is sattva or it is tamas. Tamas, why? Because it has struggle, he does not feel like making any effort. That is tamas. Complete ignorance. So sattvic person is convinced because he has the truth. Tamasic person is also convinced, completely opposite of it. And he has misunderstood ignorance as the truth itself. And he does not struggle. He does not have any confusion. Rajasic person is in the state of confusion and struggle. So rajas, tamas and sattva. So here, these qualities, these ideas. Now, Bhagavan is saying that he is manifested in all these three ways, states of the mind. Rajasa, Tamasa, Sattvika, of course, Sattvika, Rajasa, Tamasa. All these bhavaha. Bhavaha. So mental states. So the consciousness is expressing. And we put the condition, not any tamasic, any sattvic, or any rajasic is not divine. It is only divine when it is in tune with the dharma, when it is paving the way, when that energy is channelized, it is oriented, and its objective is the higher, the spiritual, transcending your limits. So to say, transcending your limits, working your faculties, not to be confided to the status quo, but trying to go beyond it. Swamiji, very wonderful sometimes. His exhortations and his words, they are sometimes they are as poetic as Upanishads. He says at one place, and it immediately reminded me of his words. He said that man is man as long as he is striving to rise above the nature. You understand how beautiful the definition of spirituality. What is spirituality? When as long as you are striving to rise above the nature, not to go by your nature. Got it? You are going by the nature, that is not spirituality. That is samsara. Going, transcending the nature. Going above the your whatever you are trying, your effort, you will fail, of course. But as long as you are trying, till then it is finished. You shake hands with it, you accept, you accommodate, you make compromises. But you surrender to it, that is not. You give this as an excuse that what to do, I am like this, that does not work to rise above the nature. So the definition of spirituality is this, rising above the nature. And you are this, all three forms of your energy, this rajasic, tamasic and manasic. Its expression. So they will be considered divine, spiritual, if they are in this direction, if you are utilizing, you are making them a vehicle to rise above your. If it is in that direction, however small, micro, infinite simul is the increment you are achieving, the betterment you are achieving, however small, if it is oriented in that direction, yes, it is definitely becoming greater than yourself. That is it. So this is important, and if we try to understand in this way. Like suppose, how can be rajasic divine? Suppose, what can be divine and spiritual? Suppose I does not understand something, but I raise the question, I do not have, it makes me uncomfortable. Okay, I struggle, I make a struggle, I decide to find the truth. I want to work for it. It robs me of my peace and contentment, and it makes me restless. It makes my head throb. But I still choose to stick by it and attend to the truth. Now this is rajasic quality, isn't it? He does not have peace. He does not have that conviction. He is struggling. This rajasic is divine because he didn't accept. He could have remained contented, go by the dharma of tamas. So that wouldn't be considered as the divine. That wouldn't be considered as the spiritual. That wouldn't be considered as coming from me, not the aveti. That cannot be considered. So which paves your way. So this rajasic is definitely spiritual. It is coming from God. The struggle is coming from God. Sattva, in which state you remain silent, you remain sakshi, and you remain witness, you are conscious, alert. There is a situation. Suppose somebody is insulting. You have all the power at your disposal. to destroy that person altogether. But you are you are thinking it differently. And from your spiritual point of view, you want to remove this one bad habit of yourself, because you have noticed that even if in a fair situation, when somebody provokes you, you are a deadly force and you want to go all after it, and somehow you feel that you shouldn't have, you rather exploited the situation. You not only try to contain the situation, but you went on to satisfy your carnal, animalistic desire, destroy the person. And you feel that it's not. Now you want to get rid of this bad aspect, and you want to win over this animalistic tendency. And there is a situation now, some person is provoking, and this time you are trained and fully prepared, and you remain silent and do not let your animal nature come over you, and only deal in very conscious, alert presence. Whatever has to be done, that you warn him, you give him notice, you put him through a procedure to apologize, etc., etc. You might show anger, anything. It can be sattvic. And because you are trying to rise above your nature, this is spirit. So spirituality is always in spite of yourself. Swami is one wonderful lecture is there in some practical spirituality. In that lecture he mentions that we are good not in spite of ourselves. That our goodness is, so to say, is packaged feature. My goodness or my badness, whatever, my virtue or my vices. This is how just I am. I am maybe soft spoken. Might be rudely speaking person. I might be lazy. I might be hyperactive. Whatever different nature and qualities of people. And pushing one thing for them is as a virtue and spirituality. This is not. Spirituality is rising above yourself. Some people are by nature somehow they are very calm. As much as calm, they can cause disaster. They can really set the whole world on fire and remain calm. Not necessarily it can be called as spirit. Some people somehow develop peculiar habits. Sometimes they learn these habits to smile smugly at any instance. How can you consider it spiritual? You only know. I cannot make sense of it. Anyhow. So, these kinds of habits, if there is an injustice and you are calm and you are not outraged and you do not, so in such case, such tamas would be spiritual. Sri Ramakrishna asked this question directly. That Yogananda Maharaj, he was coming in the boat and some people in the boat, they were criticizing Sri Ramakrishna and saying all sorts of things about him. And he remained calm because it was his nature. And Sri Ramakrishna is outraged. He said, "What? You do not have shame? How could you listen all this talk?" And he said to him that in such state, if you had already left the space, he was traveling in the boat, or you would have beheaded the fellow. How could you remain calm? How could you listen to Guru Ninda? Because that was his nature. That's why Sri Ramakrishna is provoking him. So that is not right. That is, his sattva is not spiritual. the Sri Ramakrishna's teachings are perfectly aligned to Bhagavad. On the similar instance, he vehemently criticized Niranjan Maharaj because Niranjan Maharaj, he was the strongly the built man. He was going for wrestling and he was like 6 foot tall. And as soon as he heard something people talking about nonsense about his guru, he went on on the tip of the boat and he started rocking the boat. And he said that if you do not stop criticizing, I will capsize the boat. Sri Ramakrishna was again angry at him. That what? You could behave in this way? What nonsense! That some people they do not understand this is the world. There are worldly people, they do not have such kind of understanding. So you are going to take away their life. And he is saying that this anger is Chandal. He is saying to the same Sri Ramakrishna is saying to Niranjan Maharaj. He is another disciple. Because by nature he is aggressive. And to rise above nature is spiritual. You understand? I once said to one of our Swamis that whether Bhagavad Gita at any place, Bhagavan Sri Krishna directly, explicitly gives these injunctions or orders to be sattvic. There is no such verse. To become sattvic is not the dharma. To become dharma. It is his own word. He declares, Echaiva sattvika bhava rajasas tamasas te matta eviti tan vidhi. Know that they all springs from me. Your sattva, rajas and tamas must be aligned to dharma. That is important. That is important. If there is a situation, you must be equally outraged, angry, and must be, if necessary, be able to go to the violence. If you are not, you are a coward, and it cannot be. It cannot be. Spirituality is rising above yourself, transcending your limits. Not that every time, in every situation, you succeed, but your thinking, your effort, your orientation, you are looking for a way that is important. Reaching it to yourselves and to others and giving it as an explanation that how, if somebody hits you on one cheek and you make forward another cheek, is spirituality. You are idiot in the first place. And you do not understand dharma. You are preaching this as blanket to everyone else. Dharma is the most first of all, it is very subjective. It is for every individual to decide what course of action is taken. Dharma is not mass religion, mass code of conduct in the views of the Hindus. It is not. In the views of the Bhagavad Gita, in the views of our rishis, from whom we have inherited this culture, this spirituality. So in every situation you judge according to the situation and according to yourself, how you must act, what course of action you must choose. We are not that kind of religion which have a rigid code of conduct. Doing this is dharma and not doing this is dharma. This is not our way of thinking and approach to the dharma. Dharma would be judged according to the situation, according to the desha kala patra. In what place, in what time, and for what individual, in what set of circumstances, and what kind of action could be considered as dharma or not. And more specifically, it is for the individual. This is a degenerated idea that you do not follow some dharma. So there is some body, and we people will punish you because you didn't follow your dharma. No. If I am in set of such circumstances where I have a position to punish you, I punish you because it is my dharma to punish you. That's why I punish you. It is not that you didn't follow your dharma, that's why I punish you. Suppose I am a king or the leader of the troops, I am the commander, you are the soldier, you forsake your duty, and I punish you not because you didn't follow your dharma. I punish you to follow my dharma, to establish some order in the ranks, to establish some principles that how it should be considered, which what I should do, that I should do, not because how you acted. Now, because how I am supposed to act. This is the difference. You are no judge of the character and dharma of anybody else. No. It is for the individual. So commander punishes the soldier, not because the soldier didn't follow his dharma, but because the commander has to follow. To set up the ideals. That's why he punished. Not because you have betrayed me. Not because you have insulted me, because of this, that, I am hurt, I am sentimental, not because. Because what he has to do, he has to do. That's how it does. Not out of passion. Not led by any passions, any emotions. So the idea of dharma is so grand, so wonderful. It is not of the nature of do's and don'ts. That's not what. The spirituality, the moksha is the basis of it. So this is the meaning that all these bhavas, this spring forth from me, means they should lead to me. Universally speaking, the corollary of the same statement, same theorem would be that if they come from me, by corollary, they should lead to me. That is the idea. Okay? If there is a water stream coming down, if we go up, we will reach the source of it, isn't it? So, this is to be understood. So, all these bhavas, if they come forth from me, they must lead to me. This is the secret. So, terming anything spiritual, you find it within yourself, whether it has really exported you to a higher experience, an exalted experience, then it is spiritual. Only talking nonsense would not do. That may be the worldly business. We can talk as much as it is needed, and as much as we like. That and all is all right. So let us not fool ourselves. That is the point. And this there are two phrases remaining in this verse. So matta eviti tan vidhi. So next two phrases are na tvaham teshu te mai. So these are the phrases. So this has to be understood that na tu aham teshu, that but aham, I am not in them. Or they are in me. So these bhavas, this rajas, sattva and tamas, that is not within consciousness, though consciousness is expressed through them. aham teshu no te mai, that they are not in me. That this idea we will see in both ways, in the sense of when Bhagavan says I as a consciousness or I as a divine person, Godhead. In both ways we will consider this idea. And Shankaracharya's touch or interpretation of it. We will consider this next class. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. अच्छा, so next Sunday there won't be class. हाँ नहीं ठीक है, वो कल्पतरु के दिन नहीं लेंगे, ठीक है, उसके बाद संडे से